Hey, what's up? It's your girl Nique, and you're tuned in to Nique at Night. And tonight we're going to be reacting to this video right here of Queen Naija explaining what happened in her custody situation. Now, I don't like to cover Queen Naija a lot because a lot of her fans are gullible. A lot of them don't think for themselves, and they remind me a lot of Cardi B's fans because when Cardi B says stuff, even if some of the information is not correct,
as it pertains to how the law works. Sometimes, they'll speak on stuff that pertains to the legal ramifications of things, and sometimes the information is not all the way correctly conveyed. So,
the people will argue you down about the information, and it's like, I know how the law works, I know how stuff goes, so just because your fave says it doesn't make it Bible. And sometimes they can be wrong. But people think that if a person has a high follower count and if they have a bubbly personality, everything they say has to be 100% correct and nothing can ever be wrong.
Now, let me make some things clear real quick, and then we're going to jump into this video.
This video is not to tear Queen down. I've seen a lot of people in the comments who think that anytime that you add corrective information in regards to Queen, that you're quote unquote trying to tear her down. I'm not here to tear her down. I'm here to add corrective information in a situation that
I see a lot of people talk on, and I know for a fact they don't know what they're talking about at all. Like at all. This video is a little bit late because I recorded it a few days ago, but then I had to edit other videos that I felt were more important to me to release at an earlier date. But we're gonna hop right into this.
Let's get into this video. Again, this video is not to tear her down. I just have firsthand knowledge of court. I know how court works because I've hired several attorneys in my day. A lot of people give out wrong information in these cases.
And I've seen a lot of bloggers recycle and repeat information to their platforms, and they don't know what the heck they are talking about. So I'm just mainly gonna give my perspective based on the law. I'm not taking up for Chris. I'm not taking up for Queen. I'm giving information based on the law. I haven't talked to nobody in Queen's camp, and I ain't talked to nobody in Chris's camp. I'm going to give my opinion based on certain things that I am aware of with this case. Now, I'm not about to dig up her court documents and expose pages and do all that. I'm not about to do all of that. I'm going off of her live, what she says out of her mouth. I'm going to respond off of what she says, and I'm going to respond off of previous knowledge that is been made public from her and from Chris. And with that, I'm just going to insert my knowledge to the people. It's not even to Queen. It's to the people who I've seen who don't know what they're talking about. So I'm elaborating to those people who just don't even know what the hell they're talking about. That's who I'm talking to.
And there's a lot of people who do not know how the court system works. So I'm going to watch this video, react to it, and if I hear certain things, I'm going to elaborate on those things, and we're just going to get into it.
You never texted me. Anyway, as I was saying, basically, you guys, CJ is not with me right now. CJ went with his dad. I find it has been like 5 months since he hasn't seen his dad, and so I was waiting for a court hearing to determine like temporarily what was going to happen or when he was going to see his dad. So September 16th, we had a court hearing over Zoom. So we had like a court hearing, right? I don't know how this information got out because only me and his dad knew. I have an idea who it was, and it's someone close to him. But every detail about our court thing was exposed on a T page on YouTube. And I'm just trying to figure out, why are people still talking to T pages, like older people at that?
The first thing that stuck out to me is that she said that she had a court appearance via Zoom. Now, she's a public figure, Chris is a public figure, and when you have these family law court cases over Zoom, every single person who is on the docket that day is also on Zoom. Meaning there are some people that could have been her fans, there could have been people that are his fans that were also on the docket that day. So to automatically blame his parents or his other parents because the information got out, I don't think that's really cool, especially when the key word she said was they had court over Zoom, meaning that it is a conference call style court appearance.
I'm just really confused as to like how did all the information get out from the court date that only me and his dad knew about. You get what I'm saying? So basically, it's trying to be made that the judge ordered me and demanded me to give CJ back to his dad when that's not what happened. If you're gonna tell T-Page's stuff, tell him the right stuff. Actually, me being the person I am, CJ hadn't seen his dad in 5 months because I was trying to ensure his safety of everything, like legally, the legal way, because like I said, it gets too complicated to be going back and forth. So I am the one that asked the judge, hey, before you, because me and his dad was still trying to figure out, like we couldn't come to an agreement even on the court date call. So he was going to send us to mediation. But before he got off the call, I'm like, hey, can we at least just make sure temporarily he can go see his dad for now, because he really want to see his dad. He ain't seen him in.
All right. So I'm going to pause her right there. And a lot of kids and even adults and even T-Pages who kiss her ass, they don't really know what to listen for because they probably have not been to court. They don't know how court works. So whatever she says, they automatically, you know what I'm saying, run with it. I'm going to rewind it a little bit and I want you to listen because she says, and she makes it appear that, no, I requested this and the judge went off of what I just, because that's not how it went. So I'm going to rewind it a little bit and I want you guys to listen.
We couldn't come to an agreement, like legally, the legal way, because like I said, it gets too complicated to be going back and forth. So I am the one that asked the judge, hey, before you, because me and his dad was still trying to figure out, like we couldn't come to an agreement even on the court date call. So he was going to.
Okay. So if you hear her, she says, we couldn't come to an agreement even on the court date call. Meaning, for those of you kids and adults who have never been through the court system, because just because you are a parent does not mean you know what the court proceedings, how they go. Just because you have a child and you have a child's father and you are co-parenting outside of court, you don't know how court goes. But listen to what she said. She said, even on the court call, me and Chris could not we cannot come to an agreement. So those of you guys who have went to court, what happens is there's a petitioner and there's a respondent. Whenever you go to court as the petitioner and as the respondent, the petitioner has a right to say, hey, these are my concerns and these are the things that I want to be considered. And this is the amount of time that I feel is okay. The respondent gets to respond and defend themselves by saying, this is my claims and this is the time that I want. Now, when you cannot come to an agreement, the judge will then say, hey, we'll take it upon ourselves. I'll take it upon myself and I will tell you what's going to happen. So in the midst of the judge going to dictate what was going to happen, Queen then says, then I said, hey, can we do this?
His dad was still trying to figure out, like we couldn't come to an agreement even on the court date call. So he's going to send us to mediation. But before he got off the call, I'm like, hey, can we at least just make sure temporarily he can go see his dad for now?
And per her words, what the judge actually was going to do, he was going to get a mediator to determine what was going to happen for first. So basically, if they weren't able to come to an agreement, she said that the judge was going to send her to a mediator.
If a judge says that, we're going to send you to mediation, that means that they're going to send you to a person who is going to fully have the time to listen to everything that you say, everything that the respondent says, which was Chris, and then they would make a schedule based on that, and what they recommend normally is what the judge goes with. So it's better for the parent to make a recommendation that they are comfortable with, because once that mediator litigates their terms of what they feel for your child, that is what more than likely the judge is going to go by. So it's better for you, and I'm sure a lawyer has advised her of such, it's better for you to come to terms that you're comfortable with, because once they set it in stone, it don't matter who the primary parent is, it don't matter who the secondary parent is. If the judge say that baby is to be there at this time, Queen has to also abide by those rules of the baby having to be there at that time, or else she can lose custody. That's how custody works. But I'll let her continue.
To send us to mediation. But before he got off the call, I'm like, hey, can we at least just make sure temporarily he can go see his dad for now, because he really want to see his dad. He ain't seen him in a long time. So I'm the one that requested that he can go see his dad under certain terms and conditions. And now...
Okay. And so I will give her that, because I've done that as well. I'm the one who I can make a suggestion, being that I am the primary parent. See, in my custody case, I am the primary parent. So whenever my daughter's dad does not have a certain amount of time and he goes to request for more time, I can suggest, like, okay, well, this is what I'm willing to do, but the judge can also agree or disagree with that. So knowing, and if you have a lawyer, your lawyer has already advised you of what can potentially happen, what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. What you're not able to do is just totally withhold the child from the other parent. Also, what you're not able to do, and what the judge advises you, is that if you are the more cooperative parent, if you show initiative, then it will look better for you in court. So if you are the one who, tries to work with the other party, then that will be better for you in court. But I'll let her finish some more.
And only me and him knew about that. Only me and...
Only you, him, and everybody else that was on the Zoom call.
His little booty just so sore. Mommy put some Aquaphor on there. So I'm the one that did that, being a good person that I am. Like, no matter how, much people cross me or, try to get over on me, I still try to do right by people. I just try to do it the legal way this time. So now somebody close over there has exposed my business to some T-pages or the court date and all the details, plus some lies, basically saying Queen broke the law when she didn't let him go see, when she didn't let his son go over there for the summer. And basically the judge demanded me to give CJ back. And that's not the case. So before...
Okay, so I'll stop her right there. If there was never a custody agreement put in place prior to the one that they just went to, there is no law that she broke. So she is telling the truth about that part. Like, she didn't break a law in not sending him, but what she did wasn't all the way right. So I will break that down later in the video.
All the teacher pages want to start making their own little stories and freaking what's it called? Theories up. Y'all gonna hear from my mouth. CJ's at his dad's house from September 22nd to October 6th, and that's what I asked for, 2 weeks, a temporary thing, and then after that, then we'll determine what happens after that. But people's parents and crap is communicating when they stuff that they should not be communicating. Legal information, like telling T-pages and crap. And how else did they get the information? Because the only people that was on that call was me and his dad. People be killing me, bro. Anyway, it just really sucks because you can try to keep something so low, not say anything. I say anything to no fans or nothing. I ain't go tweet nothing. I just let it be. Like, y'all was just gonna see Chris with his dad. But somebody always just gotta open their mouth and can't just shut up. So now I'm on here on live telling my side before people get it twisted, because I'm not tapping that hard, y'all. It may sound like it, but I'm not really doing it. Yeah, I'm just really pissed off. I'm just so annoyed because people is too damn old to be sitting up there telling information to people. I'm telling y'all, bro. People just keep trying me, bro. People keep trying me. It's like no matter how I try to, what terms I try to come to, what good terms. And then it's really mighty funny that on the same day that CJ goes to his dad, stuff start to come out. People need to get somewhere and mind their freaking business. Yo, what are y'all talking about? I'm not even talking about whatever other situation y'all talking about. My name is Bennett and I'm not in it. Freaking annoying. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I always said that no matter what, like, how much people try to make me out to be a bad person or run over me, I always said that I would never change my heart, because I'm not gonna let someone else I don't know which one call it, someone else's mischief or whatever change me and, you know, what I do and the heart I have for people. But it's really hard. Yo, people gonna really make me be a B word. Like, I've been called a B word, but people really gonna make me start acting like one. I am so freaking nice, bro. I sat here on the thing and asked, before we go off this call, can we just make sure that he can go over there just under conditions, because I want it to be under the judge's call, not my call, not his call, because I need it to be rules and conditions and things followed. How the fuck did that get out? Legend just looked over like he knew what I said. Like, how did that get out? Yeah, I'm not hurting my baby. If I was hurting him, trust me, he'd be crying. Cool, Lord. Ooh, tonight, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Anyway, Pack Light Alternative video dropped, so just go watch it. I had to hurry up and release that video because
Okay, so now that video is done, there's a few other things that I want to talk about in terms of the Queen Naija and Chris Sails dynamic. Now, I don't think that Chris Sails has made the wisest decisions. I think that he has done things that, you know, definitely needed to be addressed. There are some things that he's done to where it's like, okay, this definitely needs to be addressed. And I feel like Queen should have addressed them same way any other parent. Like, when I see fuck shit going on, I'm going to address it with the father. So there is things that he has done that needs to be addressed. But within the things that have been done that need to be addressed, there are a lot of people, young kids and kiss-ass bloggers and adults who don't know how things go. So I just also want to further elaborate on a few other things that I've seen around social media in this conversation of their dynamic. Now, one being CPS. Now, there is two ways that CPS can get involved in a child custody matter, and one of which is an anonymous caller calls in an allegation that they feel or deem is concerning, and that anonymous reporter, be it the mother, the manager, other bloggers. In this case, there was another blogger who made a video that had other people wanting to call in. So, you know, there is the anonymous reporting way where you anonymously report a situation and a CPS officer will go out and investigate and determine whether or not there is a major concern there and there is a detriment to the child. The second way a CPS evaluation can be set forth is through the court. Now, if you go and you petition the judge and you have a concerning matter, you can go for an emergency order and you can request a CPS evaluation on something that concerns you. So you can get it by anonymous reporting, or you can get a CPS evaluation through requesting it through court. Now, whether you go anonymously or whether you go through the court, either way it goes, a CPS order is only an evaluation of a situation. They do not determine child custody unless it is something that is extremely serious and detrimental to the child. And even in that case, all they're doing is making a recommendation for a judge to determine. Now, when a CPS worker is set forth on a case, they have a small window of time to get these court cases closed. They do not leave these cases open for 5 months. They get these done rather quickly because they have a lot of cases that they have to get through. I have a good friend who is a CPS worker and she works in the field, so I know how they work. Basically, what happens is they have a number of cases that they have to get to within the month, and a lot of times even shorter than that. Within normally times it's like around like 2 weeks time. They will investigate a situation and they will tell you whether the situation is conclusive or inconclusive. A lot of times the information, even if, it's a lot of stuff dealing with child custody, unless there is an actual like black eye, broken arm, or something that's really, really, really obvious. A lot of times when you go to CPS, it is inconclusive. But it's very important to go because you want to put a paper trail, because the more instances that happen, then it goes and it adds up, over time. But if there is one CPS call that is made, and in this instance with Chris Sales, the allegation was whether or not he inappropriately touched CJ. And so there was a CPS call made by a fan or queen or somebody, and basically it was them going off of a video that I think Chris Sales had kind of like touched the boy's butt or whatever. And so they were determining, whether that was okay or not.
Within them getting alerted of who Chris Sales was in the situation, it flagged that he had a warrant out for his arrest. So they were able to kill two birds, one stone kind of thing. Go see about the CPS and alert that he had this warrant or whatever. And that's kind of how the situation took place. Him being arrested for the warrant, it has nothing to do with his capability to parent his child. That's a totally different issue that you guys are mixing up into one, and that's not the case. As far as CPS goes,
what they're going to do is they're going to look at that situation and they are going to make a determination within 2 weeks to a month. And what they are going to do, if there is an open child custody case,
is basically just give you a report of their findings so that you can give it to the judge and the judge can look at it and they can add that into, the claims that you have. So basically it's just like, a third party person who comes and says, okay, I was called out for this situation. There was a video sent in. It was the father who, he was tickling the butt, touching the butt, or whatever he did in that video. And in their report would just basically be their accounts of their procedure in investigating it. They're going to tell the judge whether they found it to be conclusive or inconclusive. If Chris is not under supervised visitation, then more than likely it's inconclusive. that what their findings were or whatever. And so basically what they would say is, okay, we investigated this story, went out, we got this report, we talked to the mom, this is what the mom said. We talked to the kid, we asked the kid, did they know good touch, bad touch? This is what the kid said. And then we talked to the father, and this is what the father said. The father, I don't know what Chris said, but maybe he'll probably say, well, I was just playing with him or whatever. And then the CPS worker will tell the father, well, this is what we told him, maybe you shouldn't play like that, blah, blah, blah. And then that's the report that you send in to the judge. That's it. If there is no actual, true sexual abuse, if there is no actual true, broken bone or visible black eye, or, if there isn't something that is actual, a really big thing, like him, whatever he did in the video, it was a concerning thing, but that's not a really big, an actual, sexual penetration or a broken bone or a busted lip or a black eye. That's just something that is okay, well, maybe you shouldn't do that. That's kind of what that is. So in that instance of something not being a really big thing, it's a concerning thing, but it's not a big thing. So in that instance, what that report then becomes is similar to just like a police report. So say you go to the police station and, you want to make a police report because John Doe said that they were going to slap you, and you just want to put a police report on file to protect yourself in the event that John Doe pull up on you. You have kind of that protection for yourself. So that's kind of what that document then becomes. It's a protection. And it's like a report, you know what I'm saying? Okay, this happened. And if something really big happens, you have that report to go in addition to something big, so that if it continues to happen, then, you can really take action. But just for making that report, that is not something that a CPS person is going to say, you can never see your child again. I see a lot of people who are giving those comments under posts and saying, well, CPS was called, so she did it. That's not how CPS works. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. It's so many people under comments saying stuff that they have absolutely no idea about. I'm like, these people never dealt with court. They never dealt with CPS because they don't know what they're talking about. Just because somebody calls and CPS comes out does not mean that that gives the mom the authority to never let the father see the child again. And the CPS officer is not going to just outright never allow the father to see the child again. They're going to make a note of it, and that's that. Another thing that I see a lot of people talking about is the fact that Chris Sells went to jail. They are not going to, if you have a probation violation, they are not going to say, well, hey, you had a probation violation, so because you violated, because you came in contact with the cops, we're going to take your kid from you. That's not how CPS works either. They take your kid if you are unfit to parent them, not if you that's not the case. People were like, well, he went to jail when CJ was over there. CJ wasn't even in his care, and Chris is within his parental rights to allow somebody to babysit Chris. And it actually was better for him that Chris wasn't there. Baby Chris wasn't there when he went to jail. And, a lot of people were like, well, Queen didn't know where he was. Granted, as a mother, yes, I would be like, damn, I want to know exactly where my son is at all times. But that is not a situation. Baby CJ was not in harm's way. He was with somebody that his father deemed appropriate to watch him, which his father has the right to choose a babysitter for the child, just like Queen, the mother, has a right to choose a babysitter for the child. Now, because of the incident, Queen went a couple of hours or whatever without knowing where he was, which as a mom, yes, that's going to make me angry because I don't know where my child is at that time. But that is something that you address with the father, or you address it with the court to make sure that you know where your child is at all times. But that is not a reason to take the child indefinitely. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. You can't say, hey, I was mad because I didn't know where my child was for a couple hours, So now I'm never going to let you see your child again. That's not how it works. You have to address it with the father, and you have to make him know, like, if you guys are co-parenting amongst each other, like, listen, don't let that happen again. Don't let it be where I can't, get a hold to my child, and you deal with it that way. Or if there is a court involved, you say, hey, I want you to put a stipulation in that I have to know at all times where my child is, that he has to inform me who he lets babysit. He needs to give me a list of the babysitters. Now, those are stipulations that you can add so that you can assure that you never have to go without knowing where your child is. But that is not a determination or a determining factor to mitigate that the father never gets custody of their child and never is able to see their child again. A lot of you guys are talking a lot of stuff that you don't know. I've been going through the court system for 7 years. I done been through every little aspect of it. I've hired attorneys. I know what I'm talking about. Trust and believe. I know what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all do not know what you're talking about. Just because you are the mom does not mean that gives you the ultimate right to totally take away another person's parental rights. You can only get it handled through a court. You can only totally take away somebody's rights if they are totally unfit. The things that you guys are determining as being unfit are things that, yes, they are concerning things, but those are not totally unfit. Totally, you got to take your child. You can never see your child, and you got the right to just never let them go. And no, those are things that you address. And those are things that you can even go a step further and say, hey, this person doesn't know what they're doing as a parent, so I require them to have parenting classes. You can even say, listen, maybe they need a little bit of help, because maybe they're not fully aware of what's actually cool and what's not cool. But there are steps before a person just totally cannot have their rights as a parent. There are steps before it gets to that point, and you have to try to work through those steps if the parent wants to be there. Now, if you're dealing with a total deadbeat dad that doesn't care to be in their child's life, and you want to be a mom that just has it your way and, they don't fight for their kid, that's one thing. But if a father wants to be there, then there are steps that you have to take in order to make sure that the terms that you want are met. If the terms that you want is you want to know who babysits your child, that's terms that you have to stipulate, but that is not an end all be all to totally take away the parent's rights. You just have to get it stipulated in terms of your agreement. But you have to work at steps before you just totally take somebody's rights. It don't work like that. You talk about it. You make sure that you get a note of it so that you can try to make sure that it doesn't happen. But that's not the end all be all. You could just say, okay, well, you made me mad. I didn't like how you did that. So now I'm not going to let you see the baby for 5 months, 6 months, a year. No, that's not how it works. You address it so that it gets corrected. And then if it continues to happen, then that's when, bigger actions are going to take place. That's when bigger chunks of time will be taken. That's when, things will happen like that. And let's say on the flip side, if there was a CPS worker and they say, you know what, we are really, really concerned about this. And we really think that, there needs to be extra eyes on this. And this is something that's alarming.
What they would do if they are concerned is they would then get a supervised visitation. So Chris would still be able to see his child, but if it is of a major concern to the judge, what they would do is say, okay, we're pretty concerned about this. What we're going to do is make you go through a course to where, like a parenting course or whatever, to where you know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And then we will get a supervisor. So what they would do is say, hey, somebody who can supervise these visits. That's kind of how it works. But how it doesn't work is a court doesn't say, okay, well, you got mad at the way a situation happened, so you have the authority to then take the child and never let the father see the child again. No, That's not how it works. And again, these things get closed within a 2-week to a month time. These CPS workers, they have a quota. They have to close these cases in a certain amount of time. I've talked to my friend who is a CPS worker, and she will get in trouble if she has a case open for too long. Matter of fact, I was on vacation in Texas, and I was talking to her, and she was venting to me about her job, and she was like, man, like, they really push you to, like, close these cases. Like, they don't want these cases open. They don't want these cases open that long. You have to get it together fast. In this situation, I believe it's a situation where I believe that Queen has some concern. I believe that she was concerned as to the way Chris was moving, because he has done some things that, does need to be addressed. However, I think that she let her fans put a battery in her back. And I believe that a lot of the things that happened in this situation was based on her fans' perception of what they felt like she needed to do. They felt like she needed to totally take CJ. However, per the law, she cannot, whether she is his mom or not. I've seen a lot of people say, well, she's the primary parent, so she don't gotta let him go over there. Yeah, you're right. She don't gotta let him go. And when the moment that there is a court case and the judge sees that she did not let him go and she was not willing to co-parent, they will take that into consideration. So yeah, she can, while there is not a court case, she can not let him go. But the court will also say, okay, well, we see how you move, and so for that reason, they will give the other person more time than they deserve because you felt like you just wanted to up and do what you want to do. So yeah, you're right. She can do what she want to do, but there is consequences once you go before the judge, because just because there is not a court order in place at that time does not mean that the judge will not consider what happened that time. That is what happens when you go to court. You bring matters that have been going on before the judge, and the judge determines based on that. It don't take 5 months to get a court matter resolved. It does not take 5 months to get seen by a judge. Now, due to COVID, can there be a little bit of delays because of COVID? Yes, but it don't take 5 months to get a temporary order. Like, you can put in a temporary order rather quickly. Now, will your case will all the matters be addressed right away? Sometimes not. Sometimes it takes a couple court appearances to get every single thing addressed that you want addressed, but it don't take 5 months to get a temporary order. When it comes to court, you have to co-parent. It's not one parent, it's co-parent, meaning you have to cooperate with both parents, have to cooperate together. And if you cannot cooperate together, then the judge will make a determination for you. If you cannot come to an agreement, they'll send you to mediation, and a mediator will determine it for you. Either way, it was going to be determined. There is no, oh, I'm so nice because I've just decided. No, either way, once you petition the court, there was going to be an order. And either way, if you got an attorney, which she got coins, so I'm pretty sure she got an attorney, they advise you of normally what is going to happen. They factor in the age. Now we are in the time and the climate of Zoom calls. So they factor in, will school be affected? If they're doing school online, then school was not really going to be affected like that. So they determine those things when they make their determination. So I wanted to just do a video just informing you guys. A lot of people, like I said, they hear people because they're their faves and they take what they say as Bible. And sometimes people do not be transparent. I feel like she is very concerned about what her fans are going to think. I think that, that was kind of like a damage control thing. She didn't want people to think that, a judge made her do something. And I feel like that's kind of what played a part. But either way, a judge was going to make a determination. CPS does not work the way that you guys are making it out to be. I see a lot of comments like, oh, well, she has CPS and they would have took her child if she would have let him go. That's false. That is completely false. She knew CPS determination 5 months ago. I can guarantee you. I'm willing to put money on it that CPS has already told her 5 months ago what the deal was, and her sending her child over there she's not going to lose custody of her child.
Anything, if something happens again, it's Chris that would be at risk of losing custody of his child. It would just be a situation where she addressed it. And, she had a concern. She raised the concern. She gave him the benefit of the doubt, let him go. And if something happens again, then, she would bring that matter to a judge. And the judge would determine whether Chris has the right to have the authority to have the child or not. But it's not Queen that has the end all be all say so in that. She can just bring the matter before the judge, and the judge would determine whether or not he can keep custody, but she wouldn't lose her custody because she let her father get another chance.
Because he's responsible for what happens with that child. Now, they're going to tell her to address it, but she's not going to lose custody of her child if he goes to his daddy and something happened over there. No. Now, is it wise for her to try to correct what is going on over there that she does not agree with? Yes. Also, a lot of people they have made comments about COVID, and they were like, oh, well, due to COVID, he had people around CJ and he put him in danger, so she needs to take CJ. Well, Queen has done the same. She has had friends, family. She has gone to concerts. She has done a lot of things where there wasn't a mask involved, with children involved, that they could have got COVID that way too.
When I see a lot of comments, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Chris had people over his house, and oh my God, he's such a horrible person because he put the kid at risk because he had, people over. Well, if Queen goes to a nightclub and they're closed in, they're confined, and there is tons and tons of people who don't have a mask and there's not one mask in sight, she can still go to her child and put that same child in jeopardy. It's no different. Y'all pick and choose when y'all want to be outraged. And a lot of people are very hypocritical because Queen will, she'll go to, on outings and go out to where she's not wearing a mask and she's exposed to people as well. But because you like her, you feel like it's different. But if we're going to call out COVID and we're going to say, oh my God, no, you put the child in jeopardy because of COVID, you got to keep the same energy. Because also, COVID doesn't say like, oh, if it's your mom or your brother or your sister, then we're going to skip over you either. Like if you have people traveling from in the state and out of state, whether they're family or not, we take the risk because they're our family, but you can still contract COVID and put your child at risk for even meeting up with family too. But because you guys don't know who the people that Chris has around him, you guys are deeming it as that's a greater risk, but it's the same risk. It's no different. If Queen go out to the club and she's out without a mask, or if she has family traveling from out of state and they're coming in and, it's outsiders being in contact and all that, COVID don't skip and say, okay, well, since it's family, it's okay. And if it no, contact is contact. Period. So if we're going to be making a big fuss about COVID, which, is still happening, then you can't be hypocritical. And that's what her fans are very, very, very hypocritical, bro.
So y'all got to stop being biased one way or another. A lot of y'all be being biased because, a person has a bubbly personality and you're like, well, she's nicer. So, maybe COVID is going to skip. No, COVID works the same way it works, period. If Chris have a house party and have people around, it can expose the kids. And if she goes to the studio with a bunch of people, if she goes to concerts and goes around people, COVID works the same for both parents. So y'all got to stop being biased. But I believe that it was the right move to get a court order in place.
That way, neither one of them could just, wake up tomorrow and say yay or nay. It'll just be a plan in place. It'll be solid. It'll be, the mom has the baby this day, he has the baby that day, and there will be no confusion, especially in a case like this where they don't see eye to eye. So it's really better in these cases where you really don't see eye to eye to just get a plan in place to where you abide by your rules of the stipulation and they abide by their rules of the stipulation, and you go about your day. If something concerning comes up, if there's a CPS report that comes up, you bring the matter before the judge, and then the judge can take away time and they could strip rights and they could do it the proper way, and you could just have it handled that way. But if you are able to co-parent without court, I advise anybody who can make a way to co-parent without court to not go through court, because court, these people tell you what to do with your child. Now, if you have a situation that's toxic like Chris and Queen, then yes, you need court, because you don't want somebody to just wake up and, 5 months later, you ain't seen your child. So you definitely want to get a court order in place in these situations where you're going without seeing your kid. But if you can work it out with the other parent, I advise you to work it out with the other parent, because you don't want another person who didn't birth your child to tell you what to do with your child. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just wanted to go in depth about this, because this is something that, I just seen too much misinformation about, and it's such a serious thing. And, people are in the comments giving advice that's going to get somebody else's child took from them, thinking they could just do whatever willy-nilly, and that's not how it works.
I'm sure it's still gonna be a bunch of gullible ass retards in the comments, but hey, I expect Cardi B and Queen Naija's fans to be the same. They are very gullible. They hang on to what these people say just because they like them, even though sometimes the information is not all the way correct. But yeah, so that's all for this video. Stay tuned for more celebrity news and gossip.